And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily here at the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys joining us early on a Saturday evening. Appreciate you guys spending some time with us. Hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. It goes a long way to helping us out. If you are new here, be sure to say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, who your favorite team is. We've got a very friendly community that is always welcoming of new viewers. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us on X at Upside Descend and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network. Now, there's a couple of headlines early in the season as far as some trade possibilities. One such trade possibility was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Sounds like the Toronto Blue Jays are off to a very good start so far, considering a difficult division that they find themselves in. Currently, it looks like Vladdy is more likely than not to sign an extension. That is not something we would have said, say, a month ago. But the way things are looking so far, so good for the Toronto Blue Jays. But until that ink is dry on that paper, remains to be seen what ultimately happens. Other big trade news around Major League Baseball is that the New York Mets seem to be a big suitor for Sandy Alcantara, with their star players even advocating it for it when speaking with the media. Now, we'll dig into some of the possibilities as far as teams that would be a good fit for him. We'll also dig into some of the numbers from around the league, where teams stand a week and change into the season, and we'll prepare you guys for the week that is ahead. But be sure to hit that thumbs up on the bottom of the video, and here we go. And welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you guys spending some time with us. Not too much happened over the last couple of days as far as baseball news, but the only big thing that we did notice is the trade talks around Sandy Alcantara. Marlins are, of course, saying we're not looking to trade him. We all know that's the plan for the Marlins. That was the plan last year for the Marlins as well, until they had some injuries and poor performance derail their trade deadline plans last year. Well, the plan is still the same this year. Have those guys perform well up to the trade deadline, increase the value, and then trade them at the deadline for whatever they can get. Now, the ask in return from the Marlins has been anybody who's 20 years of age and under, position players primarily, nobody who's really close to the major league level. They want these players at least a couple years away from being on the big league roster. They want to go very, very young with the talent that they get in return. We've done this trade topic a few different times this offseason, talking about Sandy Alcantara going to, say, the Baltimore Orioles or the Chicago Cubs or the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers seem to be the odds-on favorite right now for Sandy Alcantara. They just seem to have the best trade assets that the Marlins could be looking at. But let's go ahead and dig into what the New York Mets could possibly have that would interest the in-division rival Miami Marlins. All right, let me pull this screen up for you guys. Now, we'll first pull up the Miami Marlins so you can see what the ask is going to have to look like. Alcantara's current value is 53. Let's get the Mets on here as the second team real quick. All right. So remember, 53 is the number we're looking at, and we're looking for guys 20 and under that are position players. Anybody catching your eye yet? First one comes to mind is Jet Williams and Jesus Baez. We'll start with Jet Williams as kind of the name guy in this trade. Let's go ahead and throw in, let's do Jeremy Rodriguez. We'll try to hold off on Baez to see if we can save that value there. Let's see here. You go down to Barrow and Vargas. That gets you a bunch of middle infielder type pieces. Gets you up to 52 with 4 of them. Probably need one more just to finish this deal off. And for it being in the division, 5 prospects for a pitcher of his caliber isn't too far off. Maybe they go for, let's go an outfielder. Let's go a little bit better of an outfielder. A little bit better of a piece anyway. Lantigua. There we go. So there's your trade to the Mets. Validate and post it. Now, is there any blue chippers in this deal? I'd say Jet Williams would constitute one blue chip piece. Rodriguez is a nice piece. I wouldn't consider him a blue chipper yet. But other than that, it does give the Marlins what they're looking for. Younger, position player talent, infield heavy, of course, in this package. But I would want more blue chippers in return for Sandy Alcantara. I'd be less inclined to go after a quantity package rather than a quality package. That's why a team like the Dodgers has the pieces right now in hand that they could go ahead and do this deal. Let's go ahead and pull those two teams up real quick just to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Marlins, Dodgers, put in Alcantara. All right. Zaire Hope is the one guy that I think the Marlins would love as a headliner in this deal. I think he'd be the one guy that the Dodgers would be inclined to try to keep off of this deal. I think they'd be more inclined to include DePaula. Let's go ahead and put in DePaula for now. Ferris is a starting pitcher. Not going to do that one. Quintero would be one of them. And then these two players right here, Vargas and Morales, are the two players I think could really elevate this package over what the Marlins really would be able to put forward here. And look how much value they're putting on the table here. That's a lot of value going to the Marlins in exchange for Alcantara. And the Marlins could even throw in a relief pitcher just to kind of finish off this deal. So let's say they threw in a Bender, somebody like that to kind of finish off this bullpen. Not that the Dodgers need more bullpen help, but that could be one route that they go. Or if they need more pitchers, they could go a Cal Quantrill in their starting rotation. Somebody like that. But that's a trade that could get it done. Or if they just wanted to, overpay and just make sure they outbid the Mets or whoever else might be interested. It's a little bit of an overpay, but I think the Dodgers would be comfortable with that because they're not giving up hope in this deal. But I think the Vargas and Morales pieces, I think those are going to really elevate in value as the year goes along. They might not even be able to get this package from the Dodgers. I think those two pieces are going to go up as far as value this year. How has he looked so far this year? Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, let's see here. Marlins. Oh. Stats. Pitching. All right, 3.72 ERA and 9 2/3 innings. Giving up 4 walks, 11 strikeouts, a .93 whip. He looks very good. He just needs to get more length, just like everybody else to start the season. I would say he's had a pretty good start to the year, though. He looks like he's going to be just fine and back to being his normal ace self. Let's go back to the games for today anyway. Yankees currently lead the Pirates 10-4 in the bottom of the ninth now anyway. Looks like they're going to win that one comfortably. Orioles, same, are going to win comfortably over the Royals. I think the Twins did the Rangers a favor today. They beat the Astros. They just couldn't scratch enough runs across the plate, but they did get 9 hits in the game, so better on them. Padres and Dodgers have both now finally lost their first games of the season. My apologies for not being with you guys last night. We had a major storm rip through the area, knocked out power. We had tornadoes not too far from here, probably 8 miles from the house. But we came through just fine. But the power was out, so it didn't come back on until well after midnight, so I didn't feel like doing a live at 3 a.m. So we decided to go ahead and do our live today instead of last night. But appreciate you guys sticking with us. Tigers get the win over the White Sox today, 7-2. Their offense finally coming through with 10 hits in that one. Cubs continue to have their offense mash over the Padres, 7-1. So good on them. Their offense certainly is carrying them right now. I wonder if their pitching is going to get some reinforcements between now and the All-Star break. I know they're going to get some before the trade deadline, but I wonder if they are one of the teams that decides to act a little bit faster rather than waiting until then. Dodgers get the win over the Phillies, bouncing back from their first loss of the season anyway to the Philadelphia Phillies. They beat Aaron Nola. Nationals 4-3 winners over the Diamondbacks. A good win for them. They get their second win of the season over one of the stronger teams in baseball so far this year. Jacob deGrom takes the mound for the second time this year. He'll be facing the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm curious to see how far they let him go. The thought process before the season was deGrom was going to pitch between 5 and 6 innings in most of the starts in the first half. He was going to pitch between 75 and 85 pitches for the majority of his starts in the first half. He looked very good in his first start, though. And I'm curious to see if they lighten up the reins just a little bit to make sure he gets into the sixth inning. If his pitch count is manageable, if those pitches aren't heavy stress. If he's looking like he did the last start, I think he could easily get there on his own without having any restrictions really lifted. But I'm curious to see how the Rangers go about this now with Jack Leiter on the injured list with a blister on his middle finger. He's been very good in his first two starts of the year. Patrick Corbin is now on the big league roster. Tyler Mahle, anyway, got off to a great start last night as well, bouncing back from his first rough start of the season. Eovaldi looks like the Cy Young this year through the first two starts of the season, but the Rangers are in pretty good stead right now with their pitching staff. It's just a matter of how quickly do they get their arms back in Leiter and Bradford and Gray. It sounds like Leiter should be back relatively quickly here. Josh Young should be coming back here in the next week or so. He's expected to play 2 minor league games, and as long as he's able to get through those with no incident, he could be back on the big league roster by the middle of the week. So expect some changes there down in Texas here in the next week or so. A couple of bigger games tonight anyway. The Mets take on the Blue Jays. Blue Jays looking to continue their nice start to the season. Mets needing to continue their winning ways to kind of keep pace in a tough division. Braves finally got their first win of the season, beating the Marlins last night 10-1. We'll see if they can follow that up with that offense once again coming through there. The Reds, their offense finally woke up a little bit. But they need to keep that thing going anyway against a relatively weak pitching staff for the Milwaukee Brewers. They need to get that offense going. Rockies and A's get it going again tonight. We'll see if the Rockies can pick up their second win of the season. The Giants still steamrolling everybody for now anyway. 6-1 is their record so far. They won in extras the other night. We'll see if the Mariners bats, who finally woke up for a game and ultimately were not rewarded for that offense that they provided. We'll see if that offense can duplicate it for a second night in a row as well. Appreciate you guys joining us. Let me see if I can run through some of these comments here. Your predictions: the Rangers drop 9 runs today. Book it. Their offense really needs to pick it up. I will say that. They've had a tough time with Taj Bradley in the past. Some good experiences, some really rough experiences. But this offense has been rough, to say the least, to begin the season. I would like to see them get more than 5 runs for the first time this season. We'll see if they can do so today at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. Welcome back, Master Vinman. Cubbies on a roll. Shota is looking good. I will agree with you there. He does look pretty good. D-Rod, good afternoon. Michael, how are you, sir? I'm doing pretty good. Just power issues yesterday anyway, with the storm ripping through the neighborhood anyway, but everybody was just fine. Thank you for taking Kyle Tucker away from the Astros. No kidding. He looks pretty good. I'm curious to see if they're able to get an extension done or sign him in free agency. But the odds-on favorite is that he'll be leaving Chicago after this year. Ken Rosenthal saying so much on Foul Territory earlier today. At Globe Life, hoping for a good game. Wow. All right. You're actually at the DeGrom game. That'll be awesome. Hope you have a good time out there, Holly. But enjoyed the DeGrom game. Cheer on the Rangers for me. As you know, I'm a Rangers fan. Rafe Scott just pitched a 3-pitch inning to end the game. I hate the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers are very good. They're not going to go 162-0, but they might still go 161-1. They are that good this year. Rangers versus Cubs this week, so be there. Should be competitive. It should be. I'm just curious if the Rangers can keep up offensively with the Cubs if those bats keep going for the Chicago Cubs. Pitching, I think the Rangers have the edge. I think they'll be able to get something done with those Chicago Cubs bats. The question is, who ultimately is going to be able to scratch enough runs across the board? Does the pitching staff hold up for the Rangers, or does the offense get the better of the pitching staff there in Chicago? And for the Rangers, can they finally get their offense going? King, welcome back. The Juice Baseballs are back. I don't mind as long as we don't get 10 home runs every single night. I will say offense was down for the first week of the season. It did look like it could be part of Just some getting the rust off. I was curious to see if it was going to have some impact as far as the repertoire, the new pitch that pitchers were using, the kick change that has kind of started to be utilized by quite a few pitchers out there. But we're starting to see offense start to catch up with the pitching. With pitchers and catchers reporting early to before actual hitters do, you can understand why pitching might be just a week or so ahead of where these hitters are at. But it looks like the offense might finally be waking up for a lot of these teams. Hopefully for Rangers fans, that is them tonight. Willard, welcome back. Appreciate you. Rangers better enjoy the Astros being bad this season because, like the past, the Astros will rebuild and probably be more losing seasons. Trust me, in years ahead, Rangers won't have certain ace pitchers. Well, I will say they're going to have Kumar Rocker. They're going to have Jack Leiter. They're going to have Jacob deGrom. They're going to have Nathan Eovaldi. They're going to have Bradford. They're going to have Dunning for at least another year or so. And they're going to free up a lot of money this offseason. They're expected to target some ace-level starting pitchers, maybe even Framber Valdez from your Houston Astros. I say that to say that while the Rangers certainly have invested quite a bit of money in free agency, both on the pitching side and the offense side, with Chris Young at the helm there in Texas, they will always prioritize pitching. So I do not doubt that they will get somebody to fill in for that rotation somewhere here with Molly and Gray's money both coming off the books. They'll be able to add a pitcher at the level of a Corbin Burns or better this offseason. Remember, they were in on Max Fried independent of Nathan Eovaldi as well this offseason. I've been curious to see if they had gotten both of those guys to agree to a deal, what they would have done as far as the offense with Jock Peterson if they had gone a different direction. But a couple of the moves that they expected to work for the offense, Jake Berger, Jock Peterson, among others, have not worked out quite as well as they had hoped. Meanwhile, Higashioka's been great. Pilar has been great. They're getting nice turnaround seasons from a couple of guys on their own end. But Simeon, Seager, and the rest of the team, or the rest of the guys that are expected to carry the freight for this team, need to wake up that offense. As for your Astros, I will say that the Astros offense has looked a little bit rough to start the season, much like the rest of the league. I do think they'll shake it off. The pitching has been the bright spot there for Houston. I was surprised by how well they've pitched the first week of the season. We'll see if they can continue, especially when most of their best starters are on the injured list right now. They have the depth to be able to weather the storm, don't get me wrong, but inexperienced depth is more like what they have been working with so far. We'll see how long this carries them into the season before they have to worry about, making some other moves for that pitching staff. But I think the Houston Astros right now are getting better pitching than expected, and we'll see how long it lasts. Welcome in, Jonathan. Appreciate you joining us. Master Vinman, Alcantara has looked pretty good. Plus scary, Willard. Plus scary is Houston could lose next 3 seasons, and Rangers and Yankees and Dodgers will start getting old, and the Astros will rebuild and then strike. Well, I mean, the Astros are still a good team. I don't think they need to necessarily rebuild. I still think they'll be in wild card contention. I still pick them to win a wild card spot this year. I just don't think they're necessarily going to win the division. I think the Rangers have the ammunition to be able to add what they need at the deadline. I think this offense will get a little bit better. They're not going to be limited to 5 or less runs all year long. Eventually, they're going to shake out of this, just like most of the rest of the teams across Major League Baseball have so far. But as far as the Dodgers, I think they're going to be good for another 5 to 7 years before we really worry about them with an aging roster, too much money, all that kind of thing. Yankees, I think they've kind of did a little bit of their retooling this year. I think they're going to be good for at least another 3 years. But to your bigger point there about Houston going into a rebuild, I don't believe that at all. I think Houston's still a good team. I still think they're going to be competitive. I still think they'll even make the playoffs as well. D-Rod, don't see the trade between the Mets and Marlins division teams unless the Mets overpay. Exactly. I think they would have to do that, and I think the Dodgers would outbid them anyway. And I think the better pieces are with the Los Angeles Dodgers in a trade anyway. D-Rod, Michael, it's crazy about a tornado. 2 weeks after I bought my first house, there was a tornado 3 miles away, and the house had a new roof, close one. That's kind of what I was worried about as well. We were getting some really strong rain and straight line winds that were knocking down trees all around the neighborhood once again. That seems to be an ongoing theme in our neighborhood. There's a new construction site that's trying to build all kinds of new homes on this tiny little patch of land, and it's highly graded, like it's like this, and they're trying to put houses on that. So they tried to cut this down to make it level. Well, all that dirt is just washing into the road, and we had a river of just mud in the middle of our road for about an hour and a half. It was raining so hard. Finally, it stopped raining, but all that dirt was still sitting there in the road. you had probably an inch of dirt just sitting there on top of the road because of all that dirt that just washed down into the street. So just a really strong storm, so my apologies for not being live with you guys last night, but thought we'd go ahead and do our live this afternoon instead. Master Vinman, who are the Rangers starting pitchers for the series versus the Cubs? Let's see. When do they face the Cubbies? So they face them Monday. They face them through Thursday? Or is it just a 3-game set? 3-game set. So DeGrom is today. That means tomorrow's starter... Where'd you go? Kumar Rocker should be the tomorrow starter. Yep. Kumar Rocker gets the start tomorrow. So Eovaldi should be the starter on Monday. Patrick Corbin probably takes the spot of Leiter on Tuesday. And then you're going to get Tyler Mahle on Wednesday in Game 3 of that series between the Rangers and Cubs. Dodgers win 120 salary cap coming. I don't know about a salary cap, Locksmart. I don't think that'll ever come. Major League Baseball, I'm sure that the owners would love to do something like that. The Players Association would rather lose a full season of baseball than ever commit to a salary cap. Rafe, give me your odds, your percent odds for the Rangers pursuing free agent starters. Now, after Leiter's start to the season, we'll see how Rocker ends the season. I still think they'll add at least one dynamic starter. By dynamic, I'm talking $25+ million salary. I think Leiter has earned his spot in the rotation and will continue to, have his ups and downs. Rocker had a great end of the season last year. One rough start this year does not a season make. Just like Leiter's 2 good starts does not a season make. I think they'll be up and down all year long, but I do think they'll be stalwarts in the rotation next year. That means DeGrom is going to be there, Bradford's going to be there, and Eovaldi's going to be there. That's 5 starters already. I think they'll add one more starter, an ace-level starting pitcher to that mix, and probably Bradford will probably be the guy out unless one of the other 2 starters that I mentioned, Leiter or Rocker, just completely goes into the can for the rest of the year. But I think they'll add a big-time starter. We'll go into those starters here in just a moment. Rafe, I know it's early, but still would like to hear your thoughts on the odds. We can do that one here in just a second. Willard, Astros might not be good this season, but eventually Dodgers and Yankees and Rangers will be losers just like the Astros, or worse than certain players on those 3 teams paid over for them and will. Willard, I get it, but Astros aren't a bad team. I know you're kind of you're not a take things with a grain of salt kind of guy. I've kind of noticed that. You're kind of all in or all out on everything. And you are an Astros fan. So I will just say this. Astros are a good team. Even with their struggles early this season, I still expect your Astros to be a very good team and win a wild card spot. Do I think they'll win the World Series? No, but I still think they're a very good team. I think they're going to still be a competitive team for years to come, not just this year or next year or the year after. While their prospect system is very thin, Cam Smith coming up is going to be a nice piece of them. Bryce is going to be a nice piece for them. And they've got lots of depth in that starting rotation. While they don't necessarily have the aces at the top like they used to with Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez could even be headed out the door. Hunter Brown, if he elevates like he's done so far this year, he could take over as your number 1, and then you still have enough pieces there to still have a very strong rotation. Now, like I said, Houston is still a good team, so let's relax on them being quote-unquote losers in your eyes and just realize you still have a good product on the field. You're not going to be in a quote-unquote rebuild, as you mentioned. They're a good team. Let's see here. Rafe, well, it's time. I'm going to watch the Rangers hopefully dominate. Yes, I'm excited to watch the Jacob deGrom game as well. We'll be off the air here in just a moment as dinner is already ready here. Paul, welcome back. Thank you for being bad when the Giants played. I will say that the Astros did have a rough time offensively for the or when they played the Giants. The Giants have gotten a little bit lucky in that regard so far. That's why their record is 6-1. But they played well as well. I think they got some nice production out of Willy Adames in his first home game. Gets the walk-off home run, 2-run walk-off home run with 2 outs in extra innings. So good on them. But they need more. They need more cogs in the offense. They need more pitching, and they will get it this offseason. Let's see here. Michael, I asked you before the season started what team would surprise you with the upside and downside. Who do you think will be those teams now? Everybody wants to say the Braves, but I'm still going to hold off for now. I think they could very well be that team at this rate, though, with the injury to Ronaldo Lopez and the offense continuing to struggle. But as far as teams, a week into the season, a team that's really surprised me even more than I thought they would is the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Yankees and how well they have been offensively, that's been really good. How bad the Reds have been offensively has been another surprise there. There'd be one team that's really disappointed me as far as that's concerned. Uh, Jonathan, Ellie De La Cruz broke baseball's unwritten rules as bunting after the sixth inning of a perfect game against the unwritten rules. Do you see the? Did I see the play? Was Ellie playing dirty? I did not see the play yet, but as far as the unwritten rules of baseball in general, I don't think that they're necessarily the worst thing for baseball. But I do think that sometimes it's just taken a little bit too seriously. Would you prefer that they would prefer that you prefer them not to get a bunt hit in that situation? Sure. Would you prefer them play you straight up and have to earn it? Absolutely. But guess what? A bunt hit still qualifies as a hit. So, while I think they have their place, and I think people in general should try to their best of their ability to perform the best they can on the field at all times. If you're losing 15 to nothing and the other guy's throwing a perfect game out there, then yeah, I'd prefer you try to swing the bat rather than bunt the ball. But in general, I think baseball's unwritten rules are not the worst thing the sport has ever had. Willard, I bet all of baseball is happy the Astros minor league sucks, but tell me why didn't Rob Manfred give the Red Sox the same punishment? We've gone over this, Willard, as far as the punishment, but as far as the minor leaguers for the Houston Astros, it's not just me that thinks that. The industry as a whole just thinks they're very, very thin. They've lost a lot of talent over the years. I think you would even agree that they've lost, George Springer. They've lost Carlos Correa. A lot of the other pieces out of that farm system have now graduated to the big league level and are now headed towards free agency, like Framber Valdez, among others. And we'll have to see how they rebound and keep this team competitive. Remember, they're not going to have the deepest pockets in the world to stay competitive, so they have to continue to have that pipeline of talent. That's why the trade of Kyle Tucker really extended their window of contention there in the AL West, and I think they're going to be a wild card team for years to come as a result of moves just like that. Enjoy your supper. Let's go Rangers. I will here in just a moment. They're a team that is having fun and don't know how to quit. Very true for you, Paul. I'm just glad you have a team that you can cheer for again. It's been a minute anyway since the Giants were respectable enough to have that type of a team, and I'm glad to see that they're finally starting to have good habits in that regard. D-Rod, what the Astros have been the last 8 years, what the Yankees have been for 30 years. Welcome to the club. True that the Yankees have been very competitive for a very long time, but they're not a team that measures themselves by postseason appearances. Meanwhile, the Astros, I think, would be happy to get into the playoffs right now. They're not measuring their success by World Series or bust. Meanwhile, teams like the Dodgers, who have invested so much in their team, are World Series or bust right now. Yankees measure their success by World Series rings, not by how many times they get into the dance. So I will say there's a slight difference there. That he gave the Astros. We've gone over that one, Willard. The Rangers have been very good so far. I will say Josh Young's health in question. Would you consider trading him for a great reliever? No. Josh Young I will hold on to pretty much till the cows come home. He has zero trade value on the market right now as a result of those injuries, and his bat is far too valuable to the Rangers to just give him up for a bag of potato chips. Now, if you were giving up Emmanuel Clase straight up for Josh Young, I'd consider it, but you'd be nuts if you're the Cleveland Guardians to even approach anything close to that type of a deal. D-Rod, Tucker is gone too. Bregman, it's like the Yankees in the 2000s after they won in the 90s. Kind of true. I'll agree with you there. Paul Fong, first time in years, they're fun to watch. I'll agree with you there. It's been a minute. Remember that 107 win team under Farhan Zaidi? That was the fluke year with Evan Longoria and a bunch of aging veterans that had career years and then ultimately fell flat on their face. That was the last really great season that they had. But this is the first time you could really, root for this team in ways that you haven't been able to since the days of Barry Bonds and Buster Posey and others. It's been almost 10 years since the scandal, and it's frustrating to some people, but at some point you just got to move on from the Astros scandal. True. When was the Astros one? 2017. Red Sox one was 2018. Yankees one was the Apple Watch in 17-18. That's been a while now. It's time to move forward, just like the PED issues from the 90s and early 2000s. Time to move past those. But you asked about the free agents that the Rangers could target in 25, 26. Let me pull up the free agent list for starting pitchers. So guys that could be over 25-ish million dollars, where I think the Rangers are going to be looking. We're looking ace level starters. So Dylan Cease they've been connected to. That could be one. Let's see here. Gallen could be another one. They've been connected to him as well. Merrill Kelly, I don't think really fits that description quite as well. King, to me, doesn't really fit with what the Rangers are looking for. Frankie Montas, Jordan Montgomery. Chris Sale, no. He got an $18 million club option. He's going to stay there if he stays in baseball at all. Max Scherzer, too old. Sugano, if he has a great first season with the Orioles, maybe they take a short-term swing at Sugano if he elevates to a number one type. Framber Valdez, of course, would be the last one there. So not too many, ace-level starters, but I would say, Zach Gallen would be one of the guys that I could see them going after. Dylan Cease would be another one. I think Dylan Cease would be the most likely out of those options there, or they could go the trade route with some of these guys that are running out of options at the big league level and do their free agency addition via trade. Maybe go after a big contract from another club, take that contract off their books. Would be another way for them to add another big time starter next off season. D-Rod, it's a shame of it all is that the Astros were a great team. They didn't need garbage cans to win. True. Astros did have a really strong team then. I will agree with you there. All right. I appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Just kind of go over to the standings real quick and just update those for you guys. If it will update. There we go. Yankees on top in the AL East once again, 6-2. AL Central's gotten a little better, 4-4 than now the 500 Detroit Tigers. White Sox are once again back down at the bottom. Rangers tied for the best record in the AL. They could elevate once again if they beat the Rays today. They're 6-2. They could be the best team by record anyway by the end of the day if they win tonight. Phillies 6-2 winning the NL East. Braves get their first win. Offense is finally waking up for them. Good for them. Cubs, their offense looks really good. Right now they're 3 games in the win column up over the Cardinals, but they played more games, so they're only a game up overall. But they played really well. 7-3 in their last 10. Bullpen still for me is a worrisome part there. Brewers, their pitching staff is the worrisome part for me. 51 runs allowed in 8 games. Not really enough to get it done. And then finally, the 2 perfect teams have finally dropped a game with the Dodgers losing their first game to the Philadelphia, bouncing back tonight, winning, and now they're 9-1. Padres started the season 7-0, have now dropped their last 2 games. Meanwhile, the Giants have gotten off to a very nice start as well. So that's kind of where we stand as well. Appreciate you guys joining us. Heel, can you do me a favor? What's the favor, my friend? What's the favor, Mr. Heel? Justin Steele has you concerned? We'll see. We'll see. D-Rod Heel, what the Astros did is equivalent to being cheated on. You stay away from her because of what she did, but the Astros are always there. That's why it sticks longer. Heel, can you check the trade value of Jake Myers and Pedro Leon for Luis Robert? Or a center fielder that might be available? We did a trade kind of like that already with the Atlanta Braves. If they were if they were to be sellers at the deadline for a guy like Alex Verdugo, somebody along those lines. But if you're looking for a true center fielder, you want Jake Myers and Pedro Leon. 1.5 for Pedro Leon. 6.9 for Jake Myers. So between the two of them, you get about $8 million in value. So if you're looking for a center fielder, you said Luis Robert. His value is 16.1. I'm not sure that they have the pieces unless they, and you still have to get the White Sox to pay down a hefty amount of that salary to make that trade as well. If you're looking to make a trade to upgrade your center field spot there, if you're Houston, I think you're going to have to do it on the cheap. Where could you go to get it done cheaply? Nationals, maybe get lucky with a couple of their guys. Rays always seem to have a plethora of guys as well. Nobody there that really moves the needle for me. Teams that could be sellers, you go to the Twins. You'd have to get them to pay down on Buxton. That could be one spot you go to. Blue Jays. Straw you could put out there. Varsho you could put out there. Varsho could be a cheaper option for you to go after if the Blue Jays fall out of contention. And there you could put Jake Myers and another couple of small pieces there and get you a deal there. That would get you a center fielder for a couple of years. Got a split. Hit that like button. Thank you, my friend. Luis Robert's strategy would be different if he stays healthy, but has a subpar season at the deadline. I think his value is pretty much sunk in with his salary right now. I think his salary is just too exorbitant for the value that he actually brings. Now, say he has a better than expected year, then maybe that cost works a little bit better towards the possibility of a trade. But I think if he has a subpar year and you're having to eat some money, I think the trade value is so low it doesn't make it worth it for anybody to make the deal at that point. But appreciate you guys joining us. Hit that like button if you wouldn't mind. It would really help us out a lot. You have a great day out there. We'll see you guys again on Sunday when we go through our sports talk show as well. But appreciate you. Y'all have a great one. Hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. It means a lot to us. Subscribe. Follow us on X at UpsideAscend and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network. Y'all have a great one, everybody. Stay safe out there.